This is basically all I've ever done is asphalt or asphalt plants. I've been on asphalt plants since the 80s, I suppose. This would be my 42nd or 43rd year of being in this industry. Just about anything and everything that has to do with asphalt. The controls that were on this were Aztec's OEM originals that came out in 2012 when this plant was new. And that system had had some issues periodically. They had had some issues that they seemed to have more problems here than anywhere else, is why this one got moved up, even though it was the newest plant and it's, the largest, if you will. It seemed to have the most need to get the controls squared away so that they were not dealing with the issues they had been dealing with. It was time to upgrade a couple of these, so I started researching what the industry had. Aztec Systems, hot mix parts, went down to hot mix parts and looked at the system, at the facility. And basically when it was all boiled down, put the pros and cons on a sheet and discussed it with the owners, and the decision was made to go with this system. This is the flagship plant for Superior Bowen. Was a big project to begin with. And then our KCI plant, also a CMI plant, got the same control system at the same time. After the decision was made that we were going to go with this, then they sent engineers out to look at the plant and take a lot of notes about what we had to design that system for this specific plant. And at that time, this was one of the larger undertakings, as I recall, that they had been associated with this monster of a plant here. Most of the dealing that I had was with Aaron Darr in the programming side of it, making sure the guys got what they needed. And I know he went out of his way on multiple things that, maybe others in the industry have never said to them. We want this done this way. They came through and made all the changes that we requested. This plant here had a lot more involvement with other things. The tank farm, much larger, the heaters, the pumps. The drag conveyor was running all the time when you're preheating. We don't run a drum when we preheat. You're not putting much heat in the drum. You're just trying to warm your bag house. The drum is never going to get that hot. Well, that drag conveyor is running and wearing because it's dry all that time for no reason at all. And we asked them to change that so that we could preheat without the drum or the drag running. Our choice either way, whether we had them running or not. Sometimes in wet conditions, you want things running. Sometimes you don't. But for the majority of the time, we didn't want that. And after they got done with it, it seemed to work just fine. They've been prompt on taking care of things, but I don't have much patience to begin with. So if I don't get a call back, I'll be calling again and again and again if that's what it takes. So we haven't had any issues, but we've been fortunate as well that we haven't had to call, haven't had the need. Most of the time it's a nitpick more than it is, we've got a problem, we need some help. One thing that I didn't care for that they made changes on is the way the traverses run. If a traverse stops, I want everything behind it to stop, drag conveyor included. We don't want to plug up anything any deeper or make it any worse than we have to. If something goes wrong, we want it to stop. And we'll figure out how we're going to clean things out on our own rather than having a machine doing it for us. One of the big changes that Aaron did for us that wasn't part of the norm that I insisted on, and I know it took him some work, was that if we have a mix design that's calling for a specific oil that's in a specific tank, you can't draw out of the wrong tank to put the wrong oil in the mix and make a mistake. It's going to catch you and it's going to warn you that you can't, that mix design doesn't call for that oil. You can't pull out of that tank to do that. Aaron did a great job of fulfilling all the requests that both of these gentlemen on these two plants asked for. And I think he made some subtle changes after they had run them for a while and kind of got used to them. But he's tailored everything to what our guys want. And the other thing about when you tailor all of them to the same way of operating, it's easier for people to change positions. If you have an operator that's sick or he has to be out of town or on vacation or whatever, the guy that comes in his place is already familiar with how it works. It kind of simplifies things. You have every pertinent bit of information. That's the most important pieces of information are right there in front of you at all times. We wanted our silos in the picture on the screen to have the tons that they're running in there in real time. So Aaron made the change. If we couldn't see something on a screen, or you had to go out of one screen into 2 or 3 others to get to something that is important, like a vibrator on a mineral filler silo can be hectic, especially when it hasn't been run for a few days and you first start it. That was set up so that we can instantly click on that on the same screen without having to jump back and forth. Then you have all of your amp meters, so you can see whether you've got a load just by glancing. And you have all your start buttons, so you don't have to open and close windows in order to do the majority of the things that you do during normal operation. But for lots of folks, the less that's on there, the better that it is. And the fact that if you're running this mix design and it uses bin number 4, 5, and 6, you're only going to see bin number 4, 5, and 6. The rest of them are blacked out. So they're not anything that attracts your attention. Everything that you see on that screen, on the main plant screen, is things that you're using at that particular time. Everything that we put on this is off the shelf, which was another reason for leaning a lot harder toward the hot mix parts system, is because you can make a phone call and have a PLC in the morning, or you can go downtown and go to the electrical supplier and get a reset that you need. Not many things were proprietary. One of the features, or one of the options that we chose to take on both of these facilities, was the Accu level system for the asphalt storage silos. There are 3 at KCI and there are 4 here, and they seem to all read pretty darned accurately. Both of the systems got burner control because I felt that we needed to have one supplier for the whole system. So Accu fires were added. This is a Phoenix burner from Aztec at Manchester, and the KCI plant is a Hauk ESS, I believe, burner, and it has the Accu fire as well. So we haven't had any issues with burner controls at all. You just don't have the downtime. The thing that I like most of all about the hot mix system is that they use Linux instead of Windows. And Windows always wants an update, or always has some issue that seems to cause you problems, and I thought it might be great to get away from that. And this plant runs 24 hours a day, a lot. This year will definitely run 24 hours a day, a good portion of the summer. To my knowledge, we haven't had any downtime due to the controls, or if at worst, very minimal. To me, the most important thing about any system, it's got to be accurate and it's got to be dependable. You can live with just about anything else, but if you don't have those 2 things, you're fighting a losing battle. And this system has done what they said it would do. And I have no complaints. I was used to a standard of 0.4% on a weighbridge or on an asphalt pump. And Missouri's 2%, so it's a lot more wide open, but I still like to calibrate to those tighter standards, just because the tighter you are, the better you are. And they will calibrate repeatedly to those specifications. I can honestly recommend it. And people know me well enough. If I don't think something's right, I'm going to say that it's not right. And I don't have any reason to shy anybody away from this system. It did what they said it would do. They worked to make sure that we were happy with it, and I don't know what more you could ask for.